Okay.
Brian.
Right. Hello. Hey, Tom and Helen. Welcome.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, Brian.
Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking
Hi,
I
Tom.
might just go. Let's have a look at this for a second. Oop, not that. This. See that screen? I just think it might be good to just have a bit of a full risk disclosure here. So trading can have substantial risk, can contain substantial risk. It's not suited for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more than their initial capital. A risk capital is the money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. We are not licensed financial advisors, nor we give out financial advice. The user of these products or services assumes full risk and responsibility for their trading activity. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Individual results will vary due to a variety of market and timing conditions. Educational, and also just a little note here about live session. Okay. Welcome, Byron, too. Good on you. So let's just share screen across over here. Questions after last week? Comments, feedback, input. Oh, and thanks, Helen. You did an AI for name suggestions.
There's only some suggestions.
No, I understand that. No. As a group, it's like it's input from lots of people. Like, and to be honest, whatever name is whatever name. It's okay.
I personally like Zen Trader.
Zen Trader.
Yeah, because Zen's my grandson's name.
Oh wow.
So that kind of works for me.
Zen trading is pretty good. Was that one of the suggestions, Helen? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
FOREX Zen Trading, there was like 2 or 3 of them.
Zen Trading. Okay, good. Oh well. We'll go through. Welcome, Tony. Tony W. Good on you.
Yeah, hi, Brian. You all right?
Yeah. Good. Okay. So with a little bit of Zen trading, let's go have a look at this week and see what's going on. As I said, does anybody have any input from last week, some feedback, some adjustments, some, I don't know, thoughts?
Well, for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I've started looking at this a little bit differently, actually.
Oh, why does that not shock me?
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, so hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing. If we go back and we look at this, if you could just scrunch that up a little bit.
Sure. This is
on
just
every one of
AUD.
these that break.
Yeah.
You can see where it breaks the green line and comes down and creates 2 red ones at the tops of the peaks.
Yeah.
So you see at the top of the peak to the left, where it broke the green.
Just here.
Top of the peak.
Oh, here. Or over to the left.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
If you notice it broke that green.
Yeah.
And then it turned red.
Mm-hmm.
And now this one's broke the green.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're right. There you go. Now it's broke the green.
Yeah. But
so
it's come back. It's come back to that red too. Yeah.
But it's not quite there yet, is it?
No, and also too, what's happening is that this ribbon is still substantially. If I was to say this is market sentiment, market sentiment is still like, well, let's keep going, even though we'll have this 1 day of pullback.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I look at these, if you go down and you look at the bottom now, where it broke the red.
Down here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what I've started doing is looking at these as if I'm making the assumption that it's going to change colors on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So as it breaks that green,
the 26
I'm
EMA.
making-
Yeah, this green. Yeah, the green line, not the ribbon. Yeah.
Correct. It broke the ribbon and it's headed towards the 26th.
You mean down here?
At either one. See, to me, this is the gap. See the gap? There's a gap between the red and the green. There, it makes like a bubble. It's a gap.
You mean between the 26 and the ribbon, that gap?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I've started doing was looking at this and going, okay, so let's be a little preemptive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, a preemptive strike. Okay.
Exactly. So if I know it's breaking that main ribbon and heading to the 26th, either green or red, whichever direction it's going, before it ever reaches that 26 ribbon, it has to be, if you're selling, obviously, the 26 has to be underneath it. And if you're buying it, the 26 has to be above it.
Yeah.
The primary ribbon. But I'm looking at that gap going, wait a second. What if I just put an entry in at the 26 and made the high that it broke that ribbon as my entry? Rather than waiting for the ribbon on the outside to change colors and the ribbon on the inside. So as it starts coming down like it is right now,
up here,
what if I just put an entry there? So
for
could you do
for a sell?
Yeah. Can you put a short in there for me?
Sure. No worries at all. I'll bring it across a little bit. You mean at the 26?
At the top of the 26. And make your entry at the high of the candle, the last one that went down before it broke the green. Up
here.
Up.
There.
Yep, that right there.
That one, yeah.
Now I'm saying even you could get in now.
Yeah.
And if that ribbon does not change, if that 26 does not change, it's going to come back up.
Yeah, it'll go. Yeah. And you won't get in the trade.
And you won't get in the trade.
Yeah.
Or you'll take a minimal loss if it ticks you in. But you could literally move your stop loss up to the bottom of the candle it is now and get in.
Yeah, you could, in actual fact, have your stop loss.
Nope, don't move the stop loss. Don't move that stop loss. Move your entry. Yes. As long as the stop loss is above the previous high. Now, if it bounces down to that 26, which pretty sure it's going to hit the 26 at some point. If it starts
it will either break or it'll bounce off it.
Correct. Now you have a smaller entry. Now it's not 70 pips.
Yeah,
now it's 51.
Yeah.
Now you're rolling the dice, obviously. But if you're expecting it to go down as it is, you're anticipating that move, get in just a little earlier. Just something I'm playing with.
Yeah, sure.
At that point, might you go down to the 1 hour for an additional confirmation?
I don't know.
At this point here.
Want to go down the hour and see? And here it comes. No, stay to the high side. Just stay to the high side of the candle. That's where it's at on the 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. That's where it is on the, or where it could have been as a change. That probably was about New York. Yeah, that was New York Open on the last day of trading last week.
You all see what I'm saying?
I can, yeah.
I like seeing that confirmation on the 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so even if you move your entry to where it's at now on the 1 hour, you're still in the trade.
Mm-hmm.
What's the stop loss, Brian? I can't see it, I'm afraid.
58.
It's small. Okay.
So really, I'm looking for that break on the 3 hour of the primary 200, not 200, but the primary ribbon.
26. Yeah.
No, the
Oh,
26 is the inner.
Yeah. Just as an insight, though, this is likely to pull back up at the market open.
Mm-hmm.
So it will probably...
It might not be a Sunday night option or a Monday morning option for you.
Yeah, it'll probably... That's right. Well, for Tom, you mean, yeah. For me, it's Monday already. So,
yeah, that's what I meant. It might not be the sort of the option for when markets just opened, but
no, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm just saying this will potentially pull back up a bit before it does continue to drop. If it does, because if we go back to the 3 hour, I'm not fully convinced that that's actually going to come down. I'm more convinced we're going to get a buy, but that's okay. And I think that's the area.
I'm using this as an example so you guys can get it in your head of what I'm thinking.
But I think
I notice a lot of these, once they break that green primary ribbon, they do tend to go.
Yeah, like that.
Brian.
And even on the bottom one, the red one where it broke.
Fine.
Yeah.
That hit on Thursday, that hit the top of the order block. That came right off the order block that runs right through
this one here.
Yeah, it's absolutely smack on it. Absolutely smack on it. It was.
Yeah, as a turn, that's fine. The question though is, and you need to forecast or predict, and using past information on what you see is, will this break that 26 and break it, come back, test it or whatever, and then continue dropping, or will it come back to 26 and then will it continue up?
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate question. So then we go across onto the daily and go, well, what's happening?
Double top.
Yeah, here we have, yeah. But the point is, we've got an imbalance. Like this is, up 71. This is back in February this year. So it pushed up to there. Then basically it's been coming down and then trying to push back up, created a lower high, created a high that, as Tom just rightly said, double top, pull back down. Now, will it pull back down further before it continues, or will it break this low here and continue back down? At the moment, the US dollar's on the nose and the Aussie dollar has strengthened. Just as a, as a comment. Somebody's got us.
Somebody's echoing away. I'll give you a point where it
Is-
might come down to in turn. Either
Suddenly that sounded like an 80s metal band.
Hey, Byron's got us open on a couple. That's all right.
Byron, were you going to say something? Sorry, have I jumped in? Sorry, somebody else going to speak.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I reckon if it's going to come down, it'll come down to around 0.67964 or 926, somewhere around there. I reckon that's where it'll come down to, if it's going to come down. How many pips is that?
Somewhere in here. Oh, how many? Current price. It's actually, it's not that far.
It's not far. No, not far.
Yeah,
No.
45 pips or so.
Yeah.
Or more.
There's a big POI, a big one as well on the 3 hour, bigger than 4 hour.
I'm just looking this as if it does, it depends. You could be right there, Alistair. It pulls back down. I'm just playing with this as a strategy and going, okay, I'm in this trade. I'm still in it. So I didn't get out because of that. That was primarily a little bit of London. We had this sort of flattening out, and I watched it. And I woke up on my Saturday morning, and and it pulled back down there. I don't care. What am I still? Where am I? I'm still up like 182 pips, right? From an entry down here somewhere, and it was back over here. So I got into it even before it pulled back down here, and then it's gone like that, right? So I'm not, to be honest, I'm not overly concerned. What I am going to notice is if this ribbon changes or this does. And sure, I might only get 100 pips out of it or 80 or whatever. I don't care. I say that with total disregard, don't I? Because on the 3 hour for me, the sentiment and what I feel is the sentiment of this ribbon is saying there is still potential for this to buy further. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. All I'm doing is going, okay, look over here. You know, it pulled up, it did a pullback here, came to the 26, and then it just came back to 26 and up and back to 26 and up. All right.
And if you notice, it's channeling at the moment.
Yeah. It's channeling up.
If you put it onto the day, and then you'll see. Oh, so I'm running late, and I'm sorry, I apologize.
No. Alistair, there is no need to apologize, Alistair.
I was on the phone to my sister, as I do. I listened to what Tom said earlier as well, because that sounded good. But I'll pick up the recording.
Yeah, no, that's a full. No, Alistair, it's fine. Again, there's no need to apologize for anything. This is just a group discussion, and you can ask. You know, it's absolutely fine.
But if you've done it, don't do it again.
No, I'm not saying that.
No.
So,
Jeez, Alistair.
So, you know,
Golly,
we're talking.
Tom, take a breath, man.
This is May back here, and look, when I say I don't care, it's because I'm just following the principles of the 3 hour at this point. Someone reached out to me last night. It's somebody here in Oz that I know reached out to me last night, and shout out to Tim. So this when I'm on at this time of the day, it's like it's 3 o'clock in the morning for him or whatever. So he can't. He watches the recordings after, obviously. And he was just saying, like, why did you choose the 3 hour? And I go, well, you know, the 1 hour is a little bit too close, and the 4 hour is you're going to miss the opportunity by a bit. The 3 hours is like a bit of a sweet spot in it. And sure, you're going to have a bigger stop loss in what I termed the other day, and Tom has said, and Helen, is like an initial trade. The initial trade isn't where this is at. The initial trade is just to follow a strategy. Subsequent stacking trades is where the profits are in this, right? So for me, this is not broken this low here, come up here, it's come back here, played around, hasn't broken that, and took off. Like, this could have quite easily come down, stopped me out. I mean, if you had to put it at the ribbon, you would have been. I think Tom was. I didn't, because I put it below the last low candle. So I was in drawdown and still on the bus. So as my term is. So I was in drawdown, but then I was confident that it was going to go off in that direction. It just did this consolidation, did a stop hunt, and then off it went. Tip, very, very turtle soup to the T. All right? Turtle soup to the T. And so up here, I'm just saying we have a thick, and I could be absolutely wrong. This may just thin right out. But let me show you an example. Like this is one that I will go. So here, look at this though. Whoops, I moved that. It's crazy. So actually, I'll take that off because we don't need it. So I got into this trade up here somewhere up here, right? Wherever the placeholder was there. And it just kept going down for the week. So I got in there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was like for a week and a bit, right? I was in this for a week and a bit of trade. The 26 got this little green because it came back up and it came back down again, and this ribbon changed, right? So where was I? I can't remember. I'd have to go back and have a look, but roughly in it, I was in it for about 300 pips, all right? Now, the percentage probably wasn't high because it was the flagship or the initial trade, right? It was just to get me in the direction. And it was something basically new that I was placing a level of trust in, okay? From market structure, because of this big push up, they need to push it back down to profit out. So where it pushes back to, I don't know, but I do know when this ribbon changes to green, get out. And that's what I did. See how it thick, and then here, as it pulled back up, it just went thinner and spiked and then turned into red. Turned into green. That's a prime example of get your head out of it and just notice the change. Get your head out of it. Sorry?
Risk management.
Yeah, just get your head out of it. It's just, it changed from red to green. I got out of the trade. Like, I didn't get into a buy because, okay, let me tell you what. I didn't get into a buy because I felt it was going to say pull back from there because it came up to that 26 and pull back out. I didn't know that at the time. Like if you pull it across here, if you go like, okay, that's where it's at, ding, 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 bang, it turns, come on, green. Turns green there, and the 26 turns green. I go like, that's coming up to the green. It may break it, but it's going to come back and potentially touch it again. But what it did was it came out, came back, and basically dropped back down. So I'm looking at the start of this week. Does it break the ribbon down here and go back, or does it start dancing along a bit? Right? Does it consolidate after a big drop like that? Or does it come up here and then start going back down again? Or does it now kick and go back up? Because I can tell you what, there's a fair bit of imbalance going on up here. And if you look at CAD-J overall, CAD-J is, if you go to the daily, whoop, if you go to the daily, Okay, Jane, you go back further, but you know, it's been going up, 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 up. It did a pullback here. It's gone back up again, didn't break that high, pull back down, right? So I still see this as in an uptrend at this point. It just doesn't want to break these couple of highs. That's fine. Haven't got a problem with that because I'm trading this little leg on the daily, which I got 300 pips out of. And I really don't care. At the moment, it's still got a down on the daily, right? So it could continue down. I don't know, right? Because back on the 3 hour, I'm just following that and it turned green, I'm out. Keep your head out of it. Just, I can get back in a trade. If this starts going thicker green and starts pulling back up, I'll get into a buy. If it consolidates for a while, I'll just sit there and watch it. It's like, don't need to bother. Right, so that's just an example. If I go back to AUD USD, what I'm saying here is this is still really thick green. For me, the sentiment, it hasn't thinned. It hasn't done this or this. It hasn't, see how the red thins down, see how the green, and then see how it thins down there? And then thins and, right? This has still got a thickness about it. Now, I'm not saying it won't turn red and start going down. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying while the sentiment's there, and if you're in a flagship trade, who cares?
Right. And this could be the consolidation portion of the 3 hours for
Just
a few
here.
days
Just
for the
here.
higher
Ching.
time frame daily to come down and push it down further.
Yeah.
It could just be
Well,
consolidating over to the daily trend.
correct. Yeah. So let's AUD, and I just wanted to give you an example.
There's a big bit of imbalance here, isn't there?
Where?
Under the where your dollar was, but you moved it.
Oh, sorry, down here.
No, up a bit. That
Up
big
here.
massive.
Oh yeah, that massive candle. Absolutely, yeah.
Huge.
Really big engulfing candle. Yeah. So it may pull back to there and then go back up. But to be honest, I'm just trialing this, Alistair. And if it comes back to the 26 and bounces off it, I'm still in the trade.
Yeah.
If it comes down to the 26, breaks it, comes back, tests it, and doesn't break back over, then it's coming back down again. And it could come back down to this candle, back down to the 200. But I still will be in positive, and then potentially it takes off. Or it come to the 200, bounce up, or it come to the 200, break and come down. Like, this is just an experience, right? So I'm wanting to see what happens with this main ribbon on a 3 hour time frame, because the ribbon for me is the thing that I know it's more of a gross trading type of thing, or larger type of process. Like I'm looking at this in relation to the 26 to the 200 and at different time frames. But for me, I'm just going to stay in that for the moment and see what happens. And as Tom said, on the daily, this might come down, then break and come down further. It may not. On the daily, it may just pull down a bit and then start popping back up again. So, questions, feedback?
That big red drop.
Big red drop. That one there.
No. At the bottom. Sorry. Under. Okay. Right. Left. Go slower. That big red one there.
Yeah, that's not big, but anyway, yeah.
No, the one. The
candle.
Oh, you mean the candle?
The big red candle, mate.
Yes. Yes, I have the candle. Yes, that's the stop hunt.
066164. That was a POI. That's where it all started from. Came back, hit 0.66.
Yeah, just there.
Off
Yeah.
it went, yeah. That's it.
And then
Off it went.
off it went. Yeah. No,
And
I
it's-
totally agree. That was, as I said, when I was in drawdown, because I'm pretty sure this turned green, come up here. I got into the trade somewhere up in here, and then it just played around for a number of days. Boof, did a stop 100 in the New York session, then up it went, and just sort of for a couple of days just did a really slow move, and then this one was on Wednesday last week. It just like, wow, took off.
Where was
And
your stop? Was it the stop at the bottom of
the stop? My stop was still down here.
really
at the-
close? Yeah.
Yeah, my stop was here.
Yeah.
See, when we initially talked about this, Tom said, put your stop at the bottom of the ribbon where it changed. And I
Yeah.
didn't. I put it at the stop of the previous, just the most previous candle.
Just as well.
And it didn't stop me out. I was in drawdown by a lot of pips, but I didn't, I stayed in that trade. It's just looking at market structure, that's all. And I'm not saying Tom was right or wrong. We were just initially talking about things. Welcome, Tommy Lawhorn too. Yeah. I just keep saying, just get your head out of presumptions as such. Just use the indicators. Yes, they're lagging, absolutely, and yes, they'll draw. And yes, we're using larger stop losses in initial flagship trades. That's not where we're talking about profits in this. And this is, as Helen had put up suggestions and Tom saying, Zen trading, because you can just sit back and watch this. Like, you don't need to, like, that's the thing. If Tom gets knocked out here, or somebody, XYZ person, you get knocked out there, get in the trade. As you see it pull back up, you can get in that trade, even if you don't get in until over here when it turns green again, and then off it goes. Okay, so this is a pre-market open session. Nothing's happening, right? Over here it says market's closed, and it's closed for another hour, right? In 1 hour's time, it'll jump off and get going, right, for the week. So I remember probably 6 years ago, well, I've been here for over 6.5 years, right, in this group and in trading and that. And I remember one of Paul's comments as well. So he said, someone asked him, how's that trading going? He said, I sleep like a baby. He said, I wake every 2 hours screaming and crying and needing a feed. So, so it's one of those things with trading, with this, like a Zen, you only need to come and look at it every 3 hours if you want to. I do remember there was another person, he's not in the group anymore and not trading, someone in the UK actually, that early days we did lots of trading. There was a group of us, okay? Anyway, I remember him, and he had a strategy where he set his alarm on his phone every 4 hours. So he woke every 4 hours. So it was a 4 hour strategy, and he'd wake at 4 hours and see where things were at. Either wake or be awake or whatever. And he'd only go and look at the chart every 4 hours. So he was sort of onto something at that time. But we didn't have any of this sort of nuances or fine sort of things to look at. So because this is a pre-market, let's go look at some pairs and see where they're at and what we might do and what potential trades might be for the week, and look at potential trend directions. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Because we can look at this and what's happened until the cows come home. But the point is, it depends on how many cows you're going to milk and what you're going to get from it. That's what matters. Okay?
Do you want a pair?
No, I'm just going to start at the top. Let's look at it as groups of pairs. Is that all right, Alistair? And we'll get to yours.
Okay. It's not mine. I'm not
No, it's
able
just
to-
one you're looking at. I'm just,
No, it just happened to when my computer was on. Please proceed.
okay, no worries. Thanks, Alistair. So when you start looking at commonalities between pairs, and yes, a primary pair and the coinciding pair with it, what we start looking at is this is AUD has been, you know, for a while, and if you look here, big drop, pull back. What's that look like? What does that look like? Okay, what is that similar to?
Oh,
Sorry, what was that?
Harry Potter's star.
What we've just been looking at.
Yeah, AUD USD. Well, remember, thanks, Tom. Sorry, mate. The CAD and US are like pigeon pairs. They're copycats, a bit like AUD and NZD. Copycats. They do sort of similar things at sort of similar times, right? Not exactly, but pretty similar, right? So again, here on the 3 hour, I'm just going to stay on the 3 hour. Yes, Tom?
What'd you say?
So he just took his first steps over there.
Oh, I'm just going
He
to,
won't walk. He stood up.
Tommy, I'm just going to mute you for the moment, mate, because we've got background on it. So, you know, you've got that pull back down, push back up, right? At any time here, when the ribbon changed here, if you want to get out there, fine. If you want to get back in there, fine. And then off it went, right? And there's imbalance up here. And yes, look, it went up there, pull back. And now it's continuing. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Ribbon's quite thick. It never came back to the 26. The 26 didn't change. So for the last 3 days of last week, it did engulfing, you know, push up and then just kept going. Now, yes, it did a little pullback. If I turn this off, you'll see that there were sell candles, but then they pull back up. At the end of the week, it pulled back down. And yes, it did break the candle here, but not the wick. So it's in that zone where I said last week it was going to get to, right? So I'll just turn this back on again. So don't get tricked by the green candles. There are cells in there. And if you look closely enough, there's little red bits around and red wicks. So they're the cell candles on that. So for me, I reckon this will continue up. So it's up to you what you want to do with this, or it could come to this point and we could come back down to the 26. I don't know at the moment, but it's already done that push. What's the next move? Like, it's not that hard to work out. It's going to go into a sell at some point when the ribbon changes. It's not near that point right at the moment. And when it does, hopefully in the group, we'll know about it and people can sort of organize what they want to do. It may go into a consolidation, just like it did there, which it did exactly the same thing in the AUD, USD, and then took off. Now, that is, as young Alistair has pointed out, this is quite an imbalance, right? And there's a point here which it may come back to, but it hasn't quite taken this. And if it does, what it may do, it may break the high over here. Right now, if we go to the daily, it's in a downtrend. So likely it may not break that high. It may come up and then break the low. So just look at a higher time frame to see what it may do. At the moment, it's got a green ribbon. Yeah, see the green ribbon on the daily. What's that tell you? And for me, this high broke those highs there. I know there are wicks there, but basically it's created a higher high. Yes, it created a lower low, but it has pulled back here. So you decide what you want to do with it. All I'm saying is the daily is saying there's a green ribbon going, right? It may not have made its point yet, but we'll yet to see, right? But on the daily, it's there. If I come back to the 3 hourly, It's still pretty substantial on the ribbon. It may come back down there. We'll just see. But if you're following AUD, CAD and AUD USD, they'll probably do things at a similar time. So with CAD continuing up on the last day of trading and AUD USD still pulling down on the last day of trading, I feel that this may pull back up again on the USD as well. Let's see. Anyway, AUD CHF. What do we got? Oh, we got a green ribbon. It's come back to that green ribbon. Oops, I'll get rid of this. So it's done a nice big push down. It's done a little pullback up here, little pullback to the ribbon. Where are we at with it? This is just on 3 hour. Thoughts, feedback, right? You need to look at higher time frame.
I'm in this one.
Yeah.
I got in at the ribbon change.
Yeah, here for a buy.
There's my stop, and the entry is at the one of those green candles on the other
just
side.
there.
Yeah.
And you're in a little bit of drawdown at the moment, but what you're
But I'll
looking
tell
for
you
is
why.
that to
'Cause
come
if
back
you
up.
scrunch that down,
Well, look at that.
if you scrunch the whole thing down,
Yeah, I know.
it's now tried one,
It's coming
two,
back up there.
3, 4 times to break that,
Yeah,
to break the bottom.
yeah, over here.
No, I mean all the way to the left. If you scrunch the whole
Oh,
thing down,
right,
you can
okay.
see,
Yeah,
where it's been trying all that time
Yeah.
to break.
Yeah, I
Went
agree.
down and took those lows.
Yeah,
Now I'm looking for that turn. And if you'll notice,
up here.
it's creating a gap. See the gap between the two green
Yeah.
lines?
That gap.
Just like it did to the left.
Yeah,
What gap are we?
The gap between the two lines. See the
The-
little bubble?
gap between the ribbon and the 26. See that gap in there? See this gap in here? That's what Tom's referring to.
I did not pick that up at all. Sorry.
And the gap there. See the gap there?
Yeah, I see the gap.
The gap in there and the gap in there. That's what
And
he's
that
talking
could-
about.
That could be heading back to the 0.618 or the 0.71 on the fib.
Correct. But we don't need to worry about that.
I know.
Yeah, no, Alistair, I'm just going.
I'm very defensive, aren't I? Sorry.
You don't need to be. It's fine.
Tom's going to be jumping mental at me. Sorry.
No.
I am not. Stop it.
Yeah, he's getting very defensive, isn't he?
Good
So
Lord, Alistair.
long position, it changed there. That's where you get in. That's where the stop loss is down the bottom of the ribbon there.
Absolutely fine.
And he's
with it.
looking at it going,
Yeah,
up
I think he
wherever.
will.
Don't worry about that. But like this is a 30 pip stop loss. And yes, if you entered in, you're in drawdown by a little bit. Like
Not a lot. Yeah.
real tough. And it may consolidate across here and do a little bit of a exactly like AUD USD. It might do a stop hunt back down here and then shoot off and up. It might come down and it might stop him out.
Oh, don't say that.
You know,
It's a bit harsh.
it is
It
harsh
won't,
at half
Tom.
a
It
percent.
won't.
And this is where the flagship trades are minimal risk, quarter, half. If you want to do 1%, that's up to you, but nothing above that in an initial trade or even subsequents if you want. But your profit regulator is your stop loss. So the flagship trades is irrelevant what the stop loss is. Irrelevant. To be honest, it's about getting the direction of the trend. Now, sorry?
Getting the direction of the trade early.
Early, yeah. Well, on a 3-hour time frame, not necessarily anything lower at that flagship trade stage.
No, what I mean by that is you're not waiting for a push and a big pullback and then a big push. You're just getting
Yeah.
in earlier.
Yeah. And that's the example I'll bring back is this AUD USD, which I just stayed on the bus for, God, it was like a week and a half, for example. Yeah. Anyway, AUD CHF. Now the thing is, oh yes.
Well, no, if you squint your chart, make it not bigger, smaller,
Oh yeah, smaller.
And
Yeah,
that's-
smaller.
and that's bigger. No, I mean,
Oh right, okay, right, okay. Well,
Make
it's
it-
bigger.
go back and make it wider so you can see where it's turned out on the left low
Yeah.
there. Yeah, bingo.
Yeah.
Done it twice, 3 times.
This is the third time.
3 times, yeah.
Okay,
But on
so
the
if I can,
but each time it's pulled back up.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And look at the imbalance of this. It came up to that high, created a new high, and then like it just dropped.
so if I could just
And while-
interject
and
for
it
a
pulled-
second,
Sorry?
if I could just interject for a second.
Go for it.
Okay, so if you go out to just shrink it down, I mean, just shrink it down a lot. Keep
It's
going
sorta-
way down, shrink it way down.
But that's as much
Smaller
as I
than
can. It's as much as I can go. It won't let
Can
me
you go
do. I can go to a higher time frame.
I was gonna say go to a higher time frame then.
Yeah. I go to the daily.
There you go, perfect. So you could see where it's breaking straight down.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you take your two trend lines and draw one in the bottom and one at the
Oh,
top.
hang on. Let me just get this out of the way. And I'll take this fib. If you see the fib, it's just down to the 71, bang, 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 bang as well. So that doesn't matter. We'll just get that and I'll hide that out. Yep. And you want a trend line.
Quite
You want
interesting.
one.
Quite interesting, though.
You want one down there,
There.
Tom?
Uh-huh. And then one on the bottom side.
You're a bit of a bottom man, are you?
I've
There
been
you
called
go.
worse.
Yeah.
So if you could see, it's trending. So when this thing starts to turn around, look for the
gonna break.
trend to break up
Yeah.
and go to the peak of the channel.
Up here.
So that's how I'm marking
Or-
my trends
or
now. That's
further.
why I'm keeping it super simple.
Yeah.
It's gonna channel, or it's gonna break a trend line, or something like that. Other than that,
And where you're at
because
the
there's your colors
moment.
now. That's why I'm saying it's having a hard time breaking these bottoms. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
looking for the turn back up
Yeah,
someplace.
correct. Yeah.
And then I throw on
Yeah.
a third trend line down this side where you just pointed to.
Yeah, down here.
Exactly.
And
There you
looking
go.
for the break. But the point is, for me, is big sell. This is a little bit like a consolidation because it hasn't really broken the bottom there. It's like it tried to push away, faked it, pull back down, and then we'll get a change back up again. But if we go back to the 3 hour on it, this is like the consolidation in the daily, but it basically has the opportunity to get a trade. So it depends here. Let me go where I am. Oh, don't do that. If we go here, will this break it and pull it back down? Tom's in a trade and saying, well, let's see. I'm going to just watch this and see if this changes. If this pulls back up again because it's come to the ribbon, comes back up, I'm going to get into that trade. I can see imbalance up here. Look at this engulfing candle here on the 3 hour. Back on Tuesday, Tuesday, 6th of July. Like, woof, beauty, thank you. It may continue down, but it's still got to come back here sometime. Can't make that. So, and look at all these engulfing ones here. Oh, very nice. Anyway, KCHF, JPY. We better go, get going on these. Same thing, ribbon, green, more buy. Imbalance here, still push up. AUD, NZD. This is a bit weird. AUD, NZD is it's just, you know, it is weird. Short moves. This, you'd go like, oh, look at all the imbalance. It didn't come back. It just kept going, popping down. Like, you go green to red, green to red, green to red. Like, keep away from it. Talk to Tom about it.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. So AUD and Singapore dollar, you may or may not trade it. I look at it. Solid green up, but what we've got is it's come back, crossed over the 200, crossed over the 26, and the 26 has turned red. This is about to turn red on the ribbon. It looks like. So it could pull down further. So just, you know, change ribbon, see what happens, right? AUDUSD we've looked at. CAD Swiss franc, continuing. Okay, ribbon still red. There will potentially be a turn, and that's been in that for quite a period of time. How do I put this? I think this is too late in the move to get in for the sell, but you know, hey, people can do whatever they want to do. All right, see where it's coming down to these points here. I think it's getting ready. I'd be looking at this through the week, potentially for the buy.
Me too.
Okay. CAD-J, I'm looking at this setting up for the buy. CHF JPY, I'm in the buy for this. I've seen it pull back, but I've got on the 3 hour, there's still a substantial green ribbon here. It hasn't pulled back to it. I'm just going to stay in it. So I got a number of pips for that where it turned green there. I got into the buy and I'm up. Where am I up now? I'm up 86 pips on this one already, right? And if it pulls back, who cares? So I've got in back down here somewhere. And it will, if it comes back far enough and starts breaking and turn red, I'm out of it, and that's all okay. That makes sense? So there's those. Euros, let's go. Euro AUD, easy to look at. We've done the sell, it's pulling back up, right? This is quite a substantial sort of push, engulfing back. I'm looking for the change here. This already changed. I think that's what Tom was saying. So some of these pairs will behave differently. You see the AUDs are a bit slower and a bit flatter in this. If you look at this Euro AUD, it's more dramatic at this point, but you can see how this is tailing off now, and that's already changed. So if you haven't already got in, this will do a pullback and then take off again. All right? In a buy. There's a couple, you see a couple of heads up there, but it just depends on whether you want to get into that for buy or not. It may not be a long-term trend on Euro CAD. Green, right? If you haven't already got in it, I'd stay and wait for the turn for it to come back down again. All right? If you look up here. So either it's coming back up to this point, but I think we're too late to get into that. I'd be looking at that for the sell to come back down again. So not ready yet. Euro CAD. Tell me if ever anybody's, you know, like in disagreement, please. That's already started the push up, all right? See how Euro CHF. See how we've gone from the red to the green. It's already changed there. Wait for the pullback and then get into that trade. Euro GBP. You don't have to do this. I'm just saying we've got consolidation, got imbalance up here on Euro GBP. Yeah, look at the higher time frame, but what it could do is pull back up and then back down. But you got to look at higher time frame on that one. Euro JPY. The JPY has been strong. It's now turned. If you didn't get into the trade there, or at that pullback just there, then maybe it might be a little bit too late for this one. But
The euro,
it'll,
sorry, you're
yeah.
so quick. The euro GBP hit the bottom of the block three times. So yeah, I think it'll come down.
Yeah. Okay. So here, this one may be too late. Just depends. You might want to get into a trade for this to continue, and then just see how that works for you. Anyway, Euro NZD, it'll be the same as Euro AUD because AUD and NZD are similar. If you look, what's AUD? It's already turned. Yeah, see, AUD's turned. So NZD, you might be able to get in on that turn. So just notice when the 26 changes color and where the ribbon is, whether you want to get in. And you can see we've got trends on that to continue to go back up. Euro Singapore, same thing. That's still in a green and still strong green. All right. Euro USD, strong green. Now, if we pull that back down and across a bit, you'll see it's broken the previous highs. It's in that range. At some point, we're going to get a turn here, but it doesn't look like it's any time soon. Let's have a look. See how it's flattened out just there? It flattened there as well, but this could be an opportunity for continuation, or it may turn and pull back down. So, and I know that that's anything it can do. But just look at the indicator of whether you want to. And again, I wouldn't trade in this first 12 to 24 hours anyway, because the market's got to settle itself, right? There's no non-farm payrolls not on, but they're, CPIs or rate increases, interest rate increases, those you might want to consider some of those things. Now,
Can we stay here for
GBPs.
just a second real quick?
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, if you could just shrink it down, look where it's going. All the way over to the left. I don't know how far over to the left you can go on yours, but if you look, it's going back to fill.
That's as far as I can go. So I've got to get to the daily.
Okay.
There.
Yeah. Look when it's going back to fill. It's got that whole
Yeah.
left side. So I'm looking for
up
a
here.
pullback and all the way up. Yeah, till that red,
Yeah, I know.
where it turned red to green.
Yeah, just there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're doing these, you guys, look to see where it's going. It'll
Yeah.
help you improve your odds of watching the change of color on the
And you
lower
got-
time frame.
You got higher highs and higher lows going.
It's
So this is a
channeling.
substantial push up. But the point is, every push up like that, and particularly that hard push up like that, you're going to get a pullback, right? So wait for the pullback to get in. That's what I'm saying, to be cautious of that. Okay, 3 hours. We're back to here. Wouldn't that have been a good trade? Huh? Change over just there. Thank you. Bit of consolidation, up, down, up, down, up, down, then woof, off it went. So now we're on the GBPs. GBP AUD. It's done a sell. It's in an uptrend. It's less likely to potentially break that, continue back. It looks like it's started already. Let's see if that turns. This will probably do a pullback and then continuation. GBP CAD, right? Ribbon still green, 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 green going, right? At some point, we're going to get a pullback on this one as well and a change of direction. It can't, that's been going like that for 2 weeks. Okay? British pound against the CAD. And if you remember any of the other CADs, it looks like they're going to strengthen CAD, and potentially pull. But the trend could continue for it, as long as they need to profit it. Okay. GBP CHF, right? In the sell. It looks like it's getting ready to do the turn. See how the ribbon is starting to thin and get a little bit of a pointy nose on it? So we'll see. There's the 26 hasn't changed, but it has pulled up to it. It may pull back down and continue. Just to see how things go with it. Just got to, in the moment, make a decision. CHF JPY. This has already gone into the buy. Imbalance back up here, more likely to pull further, but we'll get a pullback maybe to the 26 and or the 200. They're both sort of together. So pull back to there, and this will continue. GBP NZD, again, another change to go back up again. Not ready quite yet, but getting ready. British pound, Singapore dollar, fluffing around. It's done a big push up. It's more likely to fluff around and then come back into a sell. GBP USD. See how easy this is to, you got to look at high time frames. Now, see how this has come back here, hasn't changed, but the British pound US dollar, it looks like it's, if it doesn't break that 26 and change the color of the ribbon, because it's still quite thick up there, it hasn't sort of pointed yet. So over the next couple of days, we'll just see what happens with that. We'll have an insight. Now, let's go to the NZDs. This is about looking at what opportunities and which opportunities there are. So again, NZDs push back up. So see how it did that little pullback and pushback? It's now come up into this zone, which is where it was imbalanced. I can see this going into sell. All right. But just watch the ribbon. Yeah. And the 26. NZD. Okay, CHF. It's already started to push up. All right. There is a bit, see that imbalance up over here, and it's more further. No, that took that out, so that's okay. So it's only over here really on the 3 hour. So we'll see. See where the ribbon changed there and then changed there and then it pulled back to the ribbon? That's the time. If you didn't get in there, that's New York Open, basically, or just after New York Open. That would have been a really nice trade because I can see this continuing. Look how thick that ribbon, and you got the green there. Anyway, NZD JPY, again, already in. If you're not already in that trade, it did that push up. It did that little pullback just to there, to the 200 to ribbon, and then off it went. So this is likely to continue a bit further, but maybe a bit late for this one. NZD USD. This is similar to AUD USD, right? It looks like it'll either pull back here and continue, or it'll pull down and break. Go back down. You just got to watch what happens there. Don't worry about that one. UCAD. Again, see how it's just turned. Wait for a pullback. Wait for a pullback, ribbon change, get into the trade for a buy. It's more likely back up here. USD CHF. Is this pretty simple? Keep your head out of it, right? See this? It's starting to taper off here. Oh,
Maybe that's what you should call give it the name of.
Keep your head out. Well, I'm just thinking, it's just, so you can see the imbalance back up here. See that point there and there? So this will, at some point, it's been going for a whole week, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, a week and a bit, similar to CAD ones, like the CAD-J. It's not CAD-J, it's not UJ, it's USD CHF. This is likely to pull back up again, but we'll have to see. Will it change the color on the 26 before it changes the ribbon? USD JPY. Right. Oh, what's that done? Started to change. It's changed the ribbon, but not the 26. I want to see the 26 change before I would. So it'll pull back and then potentially pull back up. We'll just watch this. Remember I told you about? Anyway, good man. So gold, you can do gold on this. Look at this. Looks like it's still in that continuation. It's in a consolidation now, and more likely, if the US dollar strengthens, which it looks like across a lot of pairs, it looks like this will turn and start to go into sell. Gold, and then you can even come to a bit of Bitcoin and see how that places on it. Oh no, look at that. Oh, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? Now it's doing this. Wait for this to break. You got to come back up to the 200, change there. I reckon we're going to get a drop out of there because of all of that there. So potentially a drop back down, that would be substantial. But if you want to do a bit of Bitcoin, it's up to you. A lot of caution, but that's more likely that's going to sell after all this consolidation. And if the US dollar goes up, then this could also drop out a bit. How's that? Everyone okay?
Yeah.
Bingo bango. That's your pre-market
after
over.
that. That's good.
Well, yeah, look, I'm just saying, look at those, look at the opportunities. That's what I'm just saying. They're there.
Yeah.
some were there last week that if you didn't take them, then maybe you're too late for them.
That's good. It explains it really well. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, we'll just see what happens on this AUD USD. Any questions? Oh, Helen had to go. Okay, cool. Anything? Tommy, Tony, Alistair, Byron? Anybody? Questions? Feedback?
My pair was GBP-NZD. That's the one you talked about.
Well, we jumped on that one.
I know you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah. And USD JPY is hit perfect on what.
Yeah.
It's come back.
Yeah, it looks like it. Well, after a long stint, this looks like it's going to turn as well and potentially not break this low down here. So next couple of days, watch this, get ready for the buy.
It's all good stuff, Tom.
Not a lot of mystery.
So on the GBP-NZD,
Yeah.
if I could show you guys something that might help you with your trading.
Sure.
If you can go out to the weekly or the monthly,
Okay,
really
yeah,
high
let's
time
get rid of
frame.
that. Let's go for the weekly to start with. There we go.
Okay. If you go back to go forward. I'm sorry, go forward. That you're looking for that last push up where it started.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draw a trend line there.
See this. Ding, ding, ding. Look at this. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, okay.
Now, when you draw the trend line there, just in your own, now go back down to the 3 hour. Just in your own mind, you have a trend line there that it's got to break, right? So start looking at this as it's either going to break or bounce off that trend line. If it breaks, it's going to come back down to where the trend line started. If it keeps going, it's going to bounce off that trend line and push higher than where it came from. Just a simple mindset.
Yep. Looking at longer term, that's right.
Correct. So one of the things I've done on my pairs is I've gone to a higher time frame, like a daily. In fact, if we go back to the weekly on this, I'll show you something else. Let me show you what I mean real quick.
Sure.
Okay, so you can see where.
Yep.
If you shrink it down a little bit, so the whole thing's in there.
Oh.
You can see where back on Monday, the 24th of October of 16, you got to go way back. Oh, no, you're right there. No,
is
you're
there.
right there. Okay,
Yeah.
So you could see where it channeled up.
Yeah.
You have a channel on both sides, and then it broke the channel.
Yeah.
Started a new channel.
Yeah.
Channeled up. That broke. If you put a trend line in there, that broke that trend line. And then it trended sideways for a while. It swept the top. It swept the bottom. Now it's pushing up.
Oh, yeah, it's broken there.
Now it's deciding where it wants to go. So if you put two more trend lines in there where that just broke from the end where it came down. Oh, where your green line is right there.
You mean across here?
Well, that's one way of looking at it, but I was doing it sideways. So you see where the bottom of the Z is in the GBP NZD?
Where the Z is, that.
One to the right, the P. Yeah, right there. If you go straight across, it broke.
Yeah.
See how it broke the high?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do the same thing with the low, those last two bottom peaks, it swept the low.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm looking for a slight push up to give me a new bubble. And it's either going to pull back, test that trend line that it broke,
Yeah.
and take off, and that ribbon's going to stay green,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to break that trend bar, turn red,
And
and it's
go
going to have
down.
to go down to that wick at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking at these. So I'm putting them in channels, trend lines, wedges, pennants, whatever the market is showing.
Mm.
And then I'm just looking for the color coordinated breakout.
Change. Yeah.
So set the picture up. It's easy to see, okay, well, I see it's turning red or I see it's turning green. That's fantastic. All you're trying to get is a visual of what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And the visual of this is it's trying to break out of this channel because it's just been going sideways for so long.
Yeah.
So start looking for, oh, it bounced off the main ribbon. Now we're still going up. Or it broke the trend bar. It all turned red. Now we're going to sell it down. The minute it starts selling down, start your next trend line down.
Yeah.
Start the next channel down. Whatever the case may be, you're actually just tracking it like a map.
Yeah.
And that's how you'll get your, highs and lows and things like that. It's a
And
visual
entries
help.
and turns. Hmm.
And then when you go back down to the 3 hour and you're like, oh yeah, now I see it. Can you go back down to the 3 hour, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely.
And look where you're at as far as, what am I looking for? Well, there's my trend line. So I'm thinking it's going to come back to the trend line, at least touch it, test the top of the bar he just put on.
Yeah.
That horizontal ray.
Which is up. Is it up
No,
there?
it's down.
No. Oh no, it's
down.
here. It's that one. Yeah.
It's the horizontal rays.
And the other ones down here.
Yeah, and the other one. So this trend bar and the horizontal ray you put on, look at that. So if they don't break that, we're going back up.
Yeah. If it does, we're going down.
Exactly. It at least gives you a visual of possible targets.
Yeah.
You may not be right, and it may not go as far as you think it should or should have done, or whatever the case may be. But at least you have it in your head, hey, this is at least a plan that I'm going to put in place, so I'm just not randomly taking trades.
Hmm.
And Brian's right. Each one of these pairs has its own fingerprint.
Absolutely. But there are, and in addition there, Tom, there are common things like GBP NZD and GBP AUD will sort of behave in a similar fashion. USD CAD, no, sorry, not USD, AUD CAD and AUD USD behave. NZD CAD, NZD USD. And some like the JPYs are a little bit out there. So UJ, GJ, NJ, AJ all sort of tend to behave they have sort of a flavor. It tends to, the CHF is sort of out there on its own to a certain extent, but that's just an observation. Anyway, market will open in about 15 minutes. We'll see what the jumps are. We'll look and see what opportunities there are, whether we stay and get out. But, with us as Zen traders, we're just going to chill and watch what happens.
Exactly.
Cheers, Brian.
Chill.
Tom, thanks very
No
much.
worries at all.
Have a good day.
Until tomorrow. Anybody
Thanks,
else
everybody.
wants to join? Thanks for joining, Byron and Helen's gone, and Alistair,
Byron.
Tommy, Tony, Byron, everyone else. Thanks, Tom. See you later. Take it easy.
Everyone.
Goodbye.
Ciao.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you.
Remember, we've got the chat group as well. So if we see anything you want, just you drop stuff in there.